Okay, thank you very much. Now you will need interpreter phaya after you have calculated your calculations. There might be questions on interpretations. On interpretations, results zakho calculation. Now umzekelo phaa digestibility coefficients, if maybe let's say kuthiwe i-digestibility coefficients ku-70%, you might be asked a question ethi, do you recommend that feed or not? Okay, that feed, is it digestible or not? So uzawuchaza ke ngokwe results zakho ze calculation. Then types of feed phaya, you will be asked phaya on, you must know 4 examples umzekelo of protein rich concentrates and protein rich carbohydrates. So you must be able to give 4 examples of protein rich and carbohydrate rich dry roughages phaya. Then you will be expected phaya to give the importance of feeding in each of the main group. For instance, for an example, the suitability of leucine hay. So you will be asked around those lines. Now let us quickly go to question 3, which is animal production, protection and control. Phaya in animal production, protection and control, the questions phaya, you will be asked phaya on the production systems. You must make sure that you know the production systems, you know the farming systems. Production systems are intensive, naba extensive, and then the farming systems are subsistence farming, about commercial farming, you know, and you must make sure that you know how to differentiate between production systems zakho. Umzekelo extensive and intensive farming system. So mhlawumbe uzawunikwa phaya a picture, amaxesha amaninzi, that is farm A and farm B. You are given phaya mhlawumbi okanye you see that farm A uneqaqobana lenkomo ezimbalwa ezitya kwispace esikhulu, farm B uneenkomo ezininzi ezitya kwispace esincinci, and phaya ku-farm B there is a lot of activities that are taking place phaya. Kukho abasezayo, kukho abatofayo, mhlawumbi kukhona kuyaditshwa, there is a lot, kukho ilabor phaya, there are records phaya, mhlawumbi kukho omileyo ophethe incwadi obhalayo, which means phaya you must know that which production system is that. Kube kukho elicala ezinkomo zithe saphaya edlelweni unattended, okanye if ze-attendiwe only one person uyazolusa ezaa nkomo eziya. So you must know into yoba ufarm A yeyiphi i-production system phaya, njalo njalo. Then kwi-farming systems zona, you must know i-farming systems and uzi-identify according to their purpose. Umzekelo, i-subsistence farming, it is for family, consumption, whereas i-commercial farming is for profit. So commercial farming yiyona iphini farming eyenziwayo ukuze kuthengiswe kubekho i-profit. Then basic housing and equipment for various animals under intensive conditions. So you must make sure that as a housing for intensive farming, intensive conditions, you know those housing equipments, and then for umzekelo for chickens, for pigs, then there are general facilities in pig houses, facilities for breeding pigs, and then there are facilities for dairy cattle, as in the milking parlors. Now, Paya always clue on housing. You must look at the picture, Paya. There is always a lead on what is or what is used for. Okanye uba isetyenziselwa ntoni la picture. You must make sure that you read I picture leya, you read I picture leya kakuhle, and then uzayibona there is always a guide phaya, there is always a clue. Then sheltering structures, very important. Sheltering structures for various purposes. Umzekelo, sheltering against adverse conditions, natural and building structures, and then sheltering structures for storage. Umzekelo, feed storage. Then you must know the handling facilities, prior the equipment that are used in handling the animals, how to handle sheep, which facilities are used when you handle sheep, jalonjal. So, and the behavior of those animals. The behavior of those animals, you must make sure that because they behave in different ways, so you must make sure that you know how to handle them as they behave, the way they behave. Then you are expected to plot a graph, whereas the graph is not compulsory to be in this question. The graph might be in any of the 3 questions in section B, as I have already noticed, as I've already indicated here, that the graph might be, you might get a graph in any in any of the 3 questions in section B. So, but I want you to look at the graph prior, the correct heading. So prior, there is a mark for the correct heading. So this is the criteria of how do you gain marks from the graph. The correct heading with both variables. Graph yakho ukuze heading yakho be correct funeka variables zombini zibe khona. There are cases whereby the question will lead you. Mhlawumbi question it, draw a bar graph showing so ibe ichaza variables ezi zombini kwakula question. Now from that question you just remove draw prior, and then the rest is your heading. But there are questions, there are times, remember, u-examiner une-liberty yokubuza imibuzo ngohlobo afuna ukuyibuza ngalo. So angangatsho ukuba draw a line graph showing ntoni, usengabuza ngomnye uhlobo. But whenever usenza i-caption okanye usenza i-heading for your graph, you must make sure that the variables, both the variables, are available in the graph. So i-variable ezawufunyanwa ku-x-axis ne-variable ezawufunyanwa ku-y-axis must be in the graph. It must be in the heading. So there is a mark for that. Then the correct type of a graph. Umzekelo xa ithi u-examiner draw a bar graph. So xa uye wabeka i-bars phaya, which means uyayazi a type of a graph. So there is a mark for the type of a graph, and then there's a mark for the correct units. Umzekelo, if it kilograms, ubeke kilograms. If it degrees Celsius, ubeke those necessary units that are needed. And then y-axis and x-axis kufuneka phaya i-correct labeling, number one, and correct calibration phaya ufumane i-marks zakho phaya. And also we do not have 5 marks in agriculture. We have 1 mark, 2 marks in graph, 3 marks, 4 marks, and 6 marks. La 6 marks ufumane kanjani xa ngaba unayo i-correct heading yakho, unayo i-correct type of a graph, unazo i-units zakho from both variables, ucorrecte, ucalibrate, walabelisha correctly in both variables zakho. So ube sewufumana ngoku imark esithi accuracy. So phaya you will also be expected to interpret the plotting. So after igraph yakho izobile, you can be asked to identify certain aspects from the graph. So you must be able to deduce information from the graph, and you must be able to notice the trends that happens in the graph. So you might be asked intoba kuswela ixesha elithile okanye yenzeka nini into ethile, funeka uyazi intoba ngexesha elithile kuyotsho ngexesha elithile mhlawumbi yayikwi-stage esithile njalo njalo okanye yayikwi-phase ethile. So you making recommendations phaya, you will be asked to make some recommendations on the graph. Then la 6 marks we graph ke make sure that niyamthatha wonke. Then phaya good diseases, kwakula question diseases. Then with diseases, types of diseases, we have viral diseases, we have bacterial diseases, we have protozoan diseases, and fungal diseases. This is the basic. You must know that there are 4 types of diseases: viral, bacterial, protozoan, and fungal. Then phaya you must be able to know the examples of viral, the examples of bacterial, the examples of protozoan, and the examples of fungal diseases. So those are can be asked, and this is a very important aspect on diseases. You must know the type of animal that is infected by a particular disease. You must know a type of animal that is affected by a certain disease. Secondly, you must know the transmitting agent. How does this animal get the certain diseases? Then key symptoms. So what are the signs? What are the visible signs that shows into yokuba iyagula sisifo esithile? Those are the symptoms. And then the preventative measures, control measures. Of course, vaccination does not apply when you control, because vaccination can apply when you prevent. So economic implications, they are always negative. Economic implications. And then role of the state in preventing diseases. So the role of the farmer. Note that for this examination purpose, parasite will be assessed as indicated below. The types of parasites are 2. There are internal parasites and there are external parasites. Kukhona ke imistake abafundi abadla ngoyenza kwezanto besithethe ngazo pha kuqala, ze-intensive farming, ze-intensive production system ne-extensive production system. Baye bathi internal production system, external production system. Beyiphazamisa mhlawumbi ne-term abadla ngokuyifumana apha ku-internal parasite no-external parasite. So make sure that you do not write internal production system phaya okanye external production system. Make sure that you write intensive and extensive. So internal parasites ne external parasites, nazi examples zazo. So you must make sure that you know those examples of internal parasites. Now these are the concepts that are very aspects that are very important. You must be able to differentiate between external parasites and internal parasites. So as a concept now, then you give examples of external parasites. You make sure that life cycles of a parasite, all of them, single host, two host, three host, ticks, all of them, you must make sure that you consider them. And then the control measures, of course the control measures are always negative. Then the preventative measures, upper control measures, they are always negative because they go straight to the economic implication. Then you must understand the role of the farmer in controlling the external parasite. Dipping, of course, is one of them. Then aspect in the internal parasites. So Paya, as I've already said it, you must be able to differentiate between the internal parasites and the external parasites Paya as a concept now. Then you group them in groups of internal parasites. Then you must make sure that their life cycles, you know their life cycles. Iyathandwa as the examiners. So symptoms, you must know that if it's a liver fluke, what are the symptoms for the liver fluke? So you must know the symptoms. Then what are the preventative measures and the control measures, as well as the financial implication? So all of those, because the medicine are costly, so those are financial implications. You will have to hire people to administer some medicine to your animals. So the financial implications that are being caused by those internal parasites. Then what will be the role of the farmer in controlling the parasites and in preventing those parasites? Then we go to question number 4. Which is the reproduction. Then in question number 4, you must be able to identify the parts of the reproductive system in bulls and in cattle, the reproductive structures, to be able to label them. Maybe you will be given the diagrams. You must know how to label the parts. You must know what are the functions of those parts in each and every part of the reproductive organ, sexual reproductive organ of a bull and the sexual reproductive organ of a cow. So also the primary, you must be able to differentiate between the primary and secondary organs in both bulls and in cows. Then these you must be able to know the productive process, the productive processes. So those reproductive processes, they start from asynchronization of oestrus, where we synchronize the farm animals. All the farm animals are being synchronized so that they get into oestrus at the same time. So after synchronization, we get into oestrus. Then phaya xa zikwi-ostrus aziqali ngoba kwi-ostrus we see the signs of ostrus, and phaa kweza signs of ostrus into endifuna uyibambe mfundi, there are two things phaya. There are visible signs of ostrus and there are behavioral signs of ostrus. There are those signs that you see uba ikwi-ostrus laa nkomo ifuna inkunzi, but there are those signs eziboniswa yibehavior yayo, ezi-visible, uyazibona solen, ada, vulva is solen and reddish, njalo njalo. There is a mucous membrane, and there are those that are behavioral. It mounts on others. So la isoloko izigudla ezinkunzini. So zi-behavioral signs of ostrus eziya. So you must make sure indoba nxa kubuzwe i-signs of ostrus awudwabi nje, awuthathi nje kwa signs of ostrus, uyajonga into yoba kubuzwe i-visible signs of ostrus okanye kubuzwe i-behavioral signs of ostrus, because u-examiner phaya, remember ndithe une-liberty to ask ngendlela afuna ubuza ngayo. So after ke ngoku eza signs of ostrus kulandela i-mating, kulandela i-courtship, ibe i-mating, then kwi-mating immediately kusenzeka i-mating is either ke i-natural mating okanye i-artificial insemination. So phaa kwi-mating funeka ni-understande into yokuba after mating kwenzeka ntoni, kwenzeka i-fertilization, then immediately after fertilization kwenzeka i-gestation. Immediately kusenzeka i-gestation, there is a process of pregnancy. Funeka uyazi i-duration ye-gestation ba ithatha ixesha elingakanani i-gestation, and then kuzolandela i-parturition. So si-stage ke ngoku ese-parturition, because emva kwe-parturition kulandela i-stage se-lactation, and there is also a lactation curve phaya. So you must make sure that ezo stages uhamba nazo kakuhle, those lactation curves. For each and every reproductive stage, there are hormones that are responsible. There are hormones that are responsible from ostrus ukuza. There are hormones that are responsible for ostrus that makes that cow into yokuba ibe ready for mating. Izbonakalisa, it shows itself that I am ready now to be mated. So there are hormones that that pushes that, and also kuzo zonke nezi stage besendizibalile ezilandelayo, even kwi-stages, kwi-phases ze-gestation, there are hormones that are responsible for each and every stage phaya. So that will be the end of our presentation. Nibhale kakuhle, ningancami, relax, be calm and be collected. There is a quote that I is my favorite quote. A champion is afraid of losing. A champion is afraid of losing. Everyone else is afraid of winning. Therefore, for a champion, winning is guaranteed. Kubo Makohandini. Thank you very much. God bless you.